Penguin Random House Audio presents Marvel. What if Wanda Maximoff and Peter Parker were siblings? A Scarlet Witch and Spider-Man story by Seanan McGuire. Read for you by Allyson Voller. For Hillary, I will see you in the big country. The crime scene. Wanda is sensitive to sounds. Always has been. It caused a lot of problems when she and Peter were little. He'd chew with his mouth open on purpose to gross her out, or try to sneak out of the top bunk in the middle of the night, forgetting the creak of the ladder would wake her every time. Predictable noises can fade into the background, can become part of the daily song of life in New York City, but new sounds stand out, no matter how quiet they are. The sound of blood running down a man's arm to his hand, then farther down to his fingertips, gathering in heavy drops before it falls. Plink, 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 to join the pool forming around him. That's a new sound. Wanda Parker has seen dead people before. Saw dead people before she can remember. Saw her biological parents die when she was too young to know her own name. Saw her Uncle Ben die when she was too old to ever get the final image of his open eyes out of her mind. Saw Gwen Stacy die when the world fell apart and everything changed forever. But she's never heard this sound. This is the sound of everything going wrong. This is the sound of the future, her future, collapsing. This is the sound of Captain America's story crashing to an end. She hasn't touched him since she arrived at the manor, and certainly not since she came into the room to find his body sprawled in the leather armchair, where he'd clearly been waiting for her arrival. He doesn't look like he had time to fight back. There are no defensive wounds on his hands, and his shield is still leaning against the side of the chair, unmarred by bloody fingerprints. Those would be unavoidable if he'd been able to reach for it at all, but it's clean, unlike his hands, unlike the floor, unlike the front of his uniform, which is coated in blood, all of it drying at different rates, so that his chest becomes a jigsaw of brown and burgundy and bright, bright red. She's never really thought about how much those colors mirror her own costume. Maybe she should have considered that before she dressed to match her brother. Maybe she should have taken more time to think. He didn't have time. Whoever attacked him was fast, and knew enough to know exactly where to slash America's first Avenger and get past his preternaturally resilient skin. Cap's throat is a ruin, a shredded mass of flesh that looks more like chopped meat than anything that should be part of a person. It's horrific. It's the worst thing she's ever seen. Somehow even worse than Uncle Ben. Even worse than Gwen, lying bent and broken at the base of the Brooklyn Bridge. At least when those horrors had occurred, she hadn't been alone. She's alone now. She's never felt this alone in her entire life. The only sounds are the wind outside the open window, her own strained breathing, and the steady drip of blood to the floor. She should call someone. She should call someone right now, before this frozen moment passes and she's found alone with the cooling body of the man who may well have been, the world's greatest hero. She needs to move. But before she can, there's a new sound. A key is turning in a lock. She found Captain America's body in the living room of the Avengers Manor. That's where he was when she arrived for their one-on-one meeting. The door unlocked and ajar, mockingly inviting her in. She had been so excited, so hopeful, and it already feels like another lifetime, another version of herself. That hopeful girl is the second casualty of this horrific scene, as dead as Captain America himself. Her invitation had indicated that Jarvis would see her to Captain America when she arrived, but no one had come to meet her when she rang the bell, and a gentle push against the unlatched door had set it swinging open easily. She hadn't wanted to keep Captain America waiting, and so she'd let herself in, automatically closing and locking the door behind her as she did, a habit born of 1,000 lectures from Aunt May about responsibility and home security. Right now, she wants to thank Aunt May more than anything. Without those lectures, she wouldn't even have the split-second warning she's just received. This is when she should run. She still can't bring herself to move, and as what feels like all the rest of the Avengers crowd into the doorway behind her, she knows how bad this looks. She knows exactly what this looks like, and the press has nailed both her brother and her to the wall so many times for things that didn't look even half as bad that she can barely breathe. Her hands are clean, but that won't matter. Her gloves wouldn't show the blood. Jewel. She remembers when her name was Jessica, when she was the shy girl in the back of Spanish class, not making eye contact with anyone. And right now, what Wanda wouldn't give to see that girl again is the first to recover from her shock, the first to meet Wanda's eyes and whisper the word she currently fears most in all the world. "Murderer," says Jewel. And it's the loudest thing Wanda has ever heard. The other Avengers pour past their teammate, filling the room, surrounding a terrified Wanda, and she doesn't think, she just reacts. She doesn't hesitate as she reaches into the cascading light that fills and illuminates the world, the chaos that sings in her veins like a lullaby from the old country, her biological mother's long-forgotten voice calling to her across the void. She fills her hands with red, 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 like blood, like chaos, like freedom, and she wraps it around herself, a terrified girl in a ruby cocoon, and like Dorothy flashing out of Oz in the blazing light of 2 stolen shoes, she's gone, leaving the Avengers blinking away after images, incarnadine ghosts that don't change anything about a brutal situation. Captain America wanted to give the Scarlet Witch a chance to prove that she wasn't a villain after all, and now he's dead, and she's fled from the scene of the crime. "We have to find her," says Hawkeye, voice grim. "She has to pay for this." No one disagrees. Somewhere outside Wanda's reality, yet profoundly inside it at the same time, in a universe that exists between word and definition, where all understanding is born, a woman stands watching a mirror that is also a window as it cuts from the hectic activity in the Avengers Manor to Wanda, who is now falling through the red light void of infinity. Watching Wanda when she moves through chaos requires tricking the mirror into stacking universe inside of universe, a fractal chain of possible realities that is its own kind of chaos. She can't do it for long, but it feels important to keep an eye on this Wanda, especially since her mirror sought out the young heroine of its own accord. This is a Wanda at the beginning of her heroic career, in her early 20s and still unbruised in some foundational ways. This is the age where Wanda almost always...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?